from these authorities, or one new agreement entered, or one treaty amended to do something to get this black money back. It is a horrible, a terrible anticlimax of all promises. If you can point me one effort, I concede my case.
No, but you are saying, and after 2.5 years, you'd have ended up with the same result as the NDA. So all that you are saying is whatever NDA is doing fast, we would have done slowly and arrived at the same
not
conclusion.
in for a second. Then, if you give me time,
Rahul,
the spade work.
This is Sunil Alag.
I remember being on
Sunil
a debate
Alag
with
is asking
you.
that question.
Would you have come to another conclusion if it was left with you?
Okay.
82 tax treaties.
Let me, one second, gentlemen,
82 tax treaties.
All
the spade work done. 200 crores received from French government in the tax recovery.
No. What from? I don't see the money that came in on tax recoveries. You already declared it a long time ago.
Okay, one second, gentlemen, let's not get bogged down.
From outside.
That's post facto. Let's look at the intention. I want to bring in Mr. KTS Tulsi and hopefully Professor Madhav Nalapat. You've seen some of these pretexts that were taken. Now, obviously, in the court of law, these are legal arguments. One side is won, the other side is lost. And today, in hindsight, people can say, oh, well, these were excuses, these were technicalities. But they all seem to point, as the NDA says, as the BJP says, in a particular direction, that there was no intent, there was no will. And all of these were, at some level or the other, sticking points that were raised by the previous government to delay, to obfuscate. Would you go along with that, Professor?
Rahul, I just want to say that the whole question will be one of intent. Let's not forget that information about black money held by high net worth Indians these would be the crown jewels of the investigative system. I mean, these are the deepest secrets of any government and any administrative authority, because it gives immense power, in a sense, not only to collect revenue, but in various other ways.
Yes.
Now, I mean, I'm not surprised that the UPA tried to protect these crown jewels from the court. And I was, of course, my eyebrows did get raised when the BJP handed over all these secret dossiers of information to the court, because now it is very clear that the government, the NDA, has set up a very clear precedent that this whole matter of black money, the SIT and therefore the Supreme Court is going to be in the driver's seat on that. So from that point of view, I don't think anyone can doubt the intent of the NDA, because it's very clearly now said we are, in a sense, giving the Supreme Court the lead authority role in uncovering black money.
Mr. Shergill, you want to quickly respond? I want to bring in KTS Tulsi on a couple of other points. Yes, Mr. Shergill.
Rahul, I just want to make a I want to make a fact check on the intent. Let's not forget, the court said, please hand us over, we will hand over to SIT. We have lost faith in you. Give it to us. Whatever has to be done, we will do now. So how can BJP even remotely take credit for this? Please read the Supreme. Does the government have any role to
one at a time?
Sorry,
Mr. Alag wants, yes.
No,
okay.
Professor
wants to respond. Mr. Alag wants to respond to you. Jaiveer Shergill, please, one second.
I just said,
Professor wants to respond.
They lost faith in the government. You're right. The first government has taken 2.5 years. They've come in for 3 months. So don't blame BJP. They were blaming the government for dragging its feet over 3 years, of which 2.5 years was with you. So I don't see what's the point you're making.
And also the fact of the matter is that this information was conveyed to the SIT.
One at a time, gentlemen, please.
SIT
Professor
already had this information.
In July.
Mr. Jaitley was saying it's already with the SIT. Supreme Court insisted on getting it. Mr. Jaitley was only saying do not expose people and embarrass them if they actually have legitimate accounts.
That's a slightly, you're right, that's a slightly different argument, and I don't think we can mix it up.
The Supreme Court has kept it as a sealed envelope again, which is already lying with SIT.
Justice Hegde joins us also. Justice Hegde, who was having a few problems with the audio. Justice Hegde, I find it a little strange that the government should have gone in and said that, you see, we can't set, the previous government, the UPA could have gone in and said that we can't entertain a request to set up an SIT because the petitioner had made no such demand in the original plea. They also went out to say that the SIT interferes with policy, impinges on doctrine of separation of powers. They went on to say that, look, it will cripple the functioning of statutory bodies when it knows that that may not be the case. The SIT jurisdiction is not defined, could shut down the government's machinery. It went on to say that SIT would probe unverified inputs and could lead to, this entire thing being reduced to a witch hunt. It goes on to say that objections to inclusion of sensitive office of RNAW in SITs should be upheld. So, you know, there are a litany of reasons. Some people are calling them pretexts. Where do you stand on this, Justice Hegde?
I have no doubt every one of the pretexts was an excuse not to go further with the investigation. There were dozens of SITs were formed in various different cases. Nobody took an objection, and I don't find any legal support for such objections. The matter was being heard by the Supreme Court under the PIL jurisdiction, public interest litigation jurisdiction. The road itself is very, very limited.
Yes.
The courts can decide not to hear him and proceed further on their own and all. In that jurisdiction, to put forward such defense or opposition for appointment of SIT on the ground that there is no definite law which prescribes the formation of SIT, these are all excuses, obvious excuses not to proceed with the investigation. I remember in 2008, I think it's Indian Express which published the names of 5 countries which the government of Switzerland gave to the media, saying that this is the quantity of money that is kept by the citizens of these 5 countries. From 2008, nothing was done. Why? Why was anything not done at all? Obvious reasons that government was protecting somebody. I'm not interested in politics of this thing, but certainly a golden opportunity that was there. We have missed it, I think.
Okay. Mr. Shergill, would you like to respond? A very senior jurist has also taken
Rahul,
the position
yes,
that we are unspooling here, that these were all pretexts. Could you respond to him? And I want to bring in Mr. Tulsi right after that. Yes.
Okay. Yes, yes, please. Right. Rahul, we are taking the objection to the formation of SIT as a delay tactic, and that is the basic argument which everybody on the panel is raising. Rahul, please see the record from 2008 till now. The amendments in the law, including Section 93 of the Income Tax Act, setting of income tax overseas unit in Singapore, and there are n number of those. Today, Rahul, the point is SIT the only way to deter, detect, and recover the money at that stage in 2011 from abroad? Our argument was no, there is another mechanism which is in place by the executive. So the court today, if I start counting the number of steps that are taken and that are fructifying, and the very fact
sir,
we are actually on the verge of identification
we didn't
and
get this
recovery
far.
is because of UPA.
All those names were never really submitted to the government. It happened under this, to the courts. It happened under this particular government. So many people are going to question you.
Rahul, because there are 82
Hegde,
information exchange agreements.
Are you satisfied?
Rahul, because there are 82
second.
information
One
exchange.
Certainly not. The gentleman said there are many ways of investigating, and one of the ways is SIT. There may be many ways, out of which you have to choose at least one. Even that one was being opposed. Merely on the ground, there are statutory investigating agencies which had failed till then.
No, you had asked for an SIT,
That's why
sir,
the
in the
court
Gujarat
felt-
riots
that's why
of
the court felt
2002.
there should be a special
Mr.
investigation
Shergill,
team.
what happened? You didn't have a problem, and I want to bring
Rahul,
in
because
Karthikeya.
there is an element of biasness of the state police.
No. You see, it's easy for you. The Supreme Court was looking at that particular case at that point. The Supreme Court was monitoring the case. And it was under the aegis of the Supreme Court that the SIT was set up. So that case had already moved out, if I'm not mistaken, Karthikeya. The case had already been moved out of the state of Gujarat. Karthikeya Sharma.
You see, yes, not only that, I think the larger picture, Rahul, here is that the black money is going to be part and central to the political discourse. And I would like to bring in Professor Nala Patani, hit the key right, because ultimately the whole elections of 2014 was geared on the black money issue, whereby non-state actors were mobilized by Bharatiya Janata Party. And it is on which for the first time, UPA had an advantage when the whole controversy happened after the names were leaked to the press. And I think this is the reason why this battle is going to continue, because this is one contention on which the NDA will have to come clean and have to prove that they have the intention and they have the intention and they have the political heft to ensure what they have promised come on the plate.
Professor Nalapat.
You know, I just want to say, Rahul, that quite frankly, even now, I can't understand this argument of secrecy. Now, for example, the UPA, I am told, has exposed, I mean, the French government gave it some tax cheats. The UPA ensured that about 200 crores worth of tax revenue came from these. The point is that many of these transactions may not have been simple avoidance of taxation from legitimate business activity.
Yes.
Some of it may have been criminal. Now we have given everyone in that a free pass by assuming that everything was done in a legitimate manner except that tax was not paid. Now, had this been made public by the UPA, it could have transformed the political discourse. It could have led to many more such, information. My point is that if information is made public, the public comes out, more information comes. So I just want to make, I want to add to what Kartikeya is saying. Millions and millions of people voted the BJP on the promise of getting black money back. Now, the UPA has concentrated on blocking the SIT.
Okay.
In my view, the BJP is now looking at outsourcing it to the SIT. If the SIT fails to get significant volumes of black money back, it means the BJP is going to pay a very heavy political price.
Yes, Mr. Tulsi, answer these questions, sir. On the pretext that were taken, the legal arguments that were extended by the UPA, did they at any level signify a lack of intent? I'm asking you a direct question today, Mr. KTS Tulsi.
I don't think it indicate the lack of intent. However, I do agree with the panelist who was just speaking that perhaps it would have been better to make these things public so that the country was reassured of what was being done. But on the other hand, I want to say that the honest intent of the government is proved from 6 steps that were taken apart from the Prevention of Money Laundering Act and the empowerment of various agencies. One was the Financial Action Task Force was set up precisely for this purpose. The Egmont Group was established for cooperation with other countries. Asia Pacific Group was constituted to be able to intercept the transactions. 22 tax information exchange agreements were executed with different countries. 22 during this period.
So let's not go over that. You know, I understand. You see, there are vehicles and there are vehicles and there are vehicles and there are
double tax avoidance agreements
no,
were
Mr.
entered
Tulsi,
into.
no one is arguing against
Direct
that.
Taxes Code Bill.
We are looking at a narrow political point. Justice Hegde, I agree.
Everything possible.
Sir, one second, sir.
Everything possible was
there is no
done,
doubt
and it
that
is not
visible
fair to say
steps.
that there was any lack of intent.
So visible steps need to be taken also sometimes. You know, as justice is done, it also must seem to have been done. One of those visible steps was to constitute an SIT. And let's not escape that. Justice Hegde, your concluding thoughts. The SIT really was a test of intent.
I personally have always been opposed to SITs.
Okay, sir. That's your position. Justice Hegde.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's opposed, who's not opposed is immaterial.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court felt under the facts and circumstances of this case, after so many years and so many steps allegedly have been taken, nothing was moving. That's why the Supreme Court thought it fit that there should be an SIT and directed the constitution of an SIT. That was opposed tooth and nail. And
there
various flimsy reasons were put up. You don't have the authority to put it. You can't monitor it.
No, carry on, sir.
1,077 prosecutions were launched.
Justice.
And 33,000 crore of rupees
Anyway, none of
transactions
the
were
names
being
came
monitored
out
by
at
the
all.
transfer
The people
pricing
of India
department.
wanted to know who are these people who have...
Yes, Justice, carry on. Justice Hegde.
Well, if I'm interrupted like this, I think I'm not used to this. Look, you have asked me a question about my opinion in regard to the functioning of the SIT or the authority of the Supreme Court to appoint an authority, or the objection that the plaintiff had not requested the formation of an SIT. These are all very flimsy grounds. When a PIL is being entertained by the Supreme Court, the entire issue is in the hands of the Supreme Court. It can do anything which it thinks is necessary to reach a logical conclusion. All the 9 or 10 excuses given are absolutely flimsy.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani. leading senior lawyer. Mr. Jethmalani, we've just put out a story which reveals for the first time the exact specific details of the UPA's defense in the Supreme Court of its own position that an SIT was not needed in investigating the black money trail. Now, one of the pretexts it relied on was that there was no need to set up an SIT because no request was made in the first place by the petitioner, knowing fully well that the Supreme Court and the High Court have plenary powers to order an SIT. The other pretext they took was the SIT interferes with policy, impinges on doctrine of separation of powers. Mr. Jethmalani, if you can hear me. The contradiction there, of course, was that the SIT can't interfere in policy matters. Yes, are you there with me, sir? Can you hear me? Mr. Jethmalani? Can Mr. Jethmalani hear me? I don't think we have him. We don't have him. We are going very quickly once again. Okay, Mr. Jethmalani, can you hear me, sir?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Mr. Jethmalani? Okay, we're having a few communication issues.
Hello?
I think we're having a few communication issues with Mr. Jethmalani. Very quickly, I want to wrap this up by giving Mr. Shergill one last opportunity to defend the government's position here, that this was not frivolous interventions aimed at derailing or slowing down the move towards constituting an SIT. You've heard Justice Hegde, you've heard others on our panel. Quick 2 points from your side, Mr. Shergill, uninterrupted.
Quick 2 points, Rahul. Number one, the objection to formation of SIT cannot cast a shadow or doubt on our intent, because as a lot of work we have done, that is why we have reached this stage. Second, SIT need was not felt at that particular time because